Welcome to The Ripple Within, a podcast by All-in-One Life Coaching. I'm Michelle, a certified life coach specializing in mindset, emotional wellness, and the law of attraction. I work with people to help create the narrative around their desired outcome.
And I'm Kathy. I'm here to ask the questions, explore the patterns, and share the real life moments that make this all, make sense.
This show is about the connection between how we feel and the physical reality we experience every day. We'll explore how our thoughts lead to outcomes and how narrative shifts can create big change.
We'll keep it grounded using logic and lived experience, not just theory. And if you've ever wondered why you feel stuck, reactive, or out of sync with yourself, you're not alone.
Our life experience will always match how we feel. This podcast is about exploring our ripple within, how our thoughts, emotions, beliefs, and values contribute to the physical life we live. Let's get into it. Welcome back, everyone. All right, Kathy, what have you got for us?
Let's explore our expectations and what we think other people's expectations could be of us. So, I'm kind of a perfectionist. Well, maybe those aren't the right words, but let's talk about baking a set of brownies. Zach's mom and dad were coming for dinner. I know I put a lot of pressure on myself for it to be perfect. And quite frankly, I mean, logically, I know that they don't care. They just want to come and visit us and hang out with us. I mean, logically, in my brain, it knows they don't care. I care, right? I go to make, let me just say, the brownies did not turn out. They were dry. They were terrible. They were bad. So they were so bad, and they were made from a box. So I did follow They were bad. They they were dry. Zach took a bite and he says, "Yeah, yeah," and
I'm trying to love it, babe. I'm trying to love it.
yeah, yeah, not so much. So his mom brings a set of brownies, and of course they're perfect. And I love his mom and dad. I absolutely adore them. Uh,
Yeah.
so when it was clear when she made hers, she was in the right emotional state. I clearly was not. But the expectation that I put on myself and the pressure
Yeah.
that I put on myself when
Yeah.
I could have probably just made a batch from a recipe too, rather than using. But I thought, quick, easy, save time. They'll be perfect. They come out of a box. How can they not be perfect?
Everything's pre-made. All
Everything's
the
perfect.
ingredients are
They
there.
just, you open the box and poof, they lay on your stove. No, I like it, the expectation that I, I'm I can't speak for the millions of people in the world, but the unrealistic expectations sometimes that we put on ourselves, and how that can, I don't
Yeah.
want to use words like automatically put us in the rabbit hole, but I mean, that's, it was guaranteed to go down that highway.
To piggyback off what you just said, when we are having those thoughts, it does automatically put us there. Literally in that second, in that moment of time. So as soon as we start having self-doubt, are worried about what other people think, concerned that, they're out of a box and not like a homemade recipe and that kind of thing, you are literally now in the bucket in that
I
moment.
I was preset to be in the but we just dumped me all into the in Word, and I was guaranteed to, and it's no wonder because the brownies were terrible, 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 terrible.
So when we try to line up because that's what this is, right? Is we're lining up the emotional state to the outcome. Now, the goal is that we do that in advance. We prepare prior, to taking part, so to speak. We prepare prior to, right? Meaning in cases like a bad batch of brownies, isn't necessarily, because we want to make sure that we are clear on the correlation. Like, it's not like an identical, I'm frustrated, so now a frustrating thing is going to happen. I'm disappointed, so now a disappointing thing is going to happen. That's not what it means. It means when we're frustrated, concerned, worried about somebody else's opinion, we actually open ourselves to everything in the bucket. Everything. Not just, worry or disappointment or concern. We actually now open ourselves up to everything. So the longer we spend there, meaning, oh my gosh, are they going to like it? Is it going to be up to their standards? Will they be pleased with what I've created? I mean, as we do that and continue to do that to ourselves, then before we know it, it's like, do you remember that time when you were 7 and your aunt, gave you a hard time? Or do you remember that time a couple weeks ago when you snapped at that coworker? And then that's what happens. It's why it's so important for us to do the work ahead of time, because once we're in it, it's not as easy to get out, right? Like once we're in it. So you ask the question, right? Why do we seek so much approval, right? Like, and I'm actually going to come back to you with that same question. What do you think causes us to seek that approval?
It reminds me of that movie, Did they like me? Did they really, really like me? What I mean? Like that whole.
So
Yeah.
what emotional state do you think it comes from?
Being needed, being wanted, being loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do you have a belief system that that's right or wrong?
It has taken me years to believe that I could deserve, or deserve's the only word I got.
That's
Deserve,
fine.
someone like him and his family. His family is accepting. I mean, Dad has said, we don't come just for your cooking. You know what I mean? Like, we come to see you.
Exactly.
We come to visit. We come to, do you know
Get
what I
to know
mean?
you
Yeah,
and
yeah,
have
yeah. Like,
conversation and
and it's so weird because I say the same thing to myself going to somebody else's house. I'm not there to, you know, inspect, if your tub's clean. Do you know what I mean?
right.
Like, I'm not there
Right.
to
Exactly.
care what
No
the state of
judgment.
your, yeah, right? Like, I can do that for others,
Yep.
but I don't give myself the same.
Courtesy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Well, and a lot of that is just practiced behavior, right? Like it, and when we've lived a life experience that we live, and we've had experiences where we've either been neglected or not included or judged harshly or negatively, or quite frankly just been dismissed, then it is just natural as we age and maneuver through this experience that those are the things we're really going to want to seek, especially if as children we didn't get that. It's not a wrong thing. I use that term right and wrong very loosely because for me, everything is accurate based on where we are on the emotional scale. Everything is accurate based on what our life experience has been. Everything is accurate based on where our thoughts are and what those are doing and where we're headed. So when we say things like, why do we feel this need to please other people, it is really telling about where we are on the scale. It doesn't necessarily mean that we are wanting their, I need them to like me, even though that can be part of it. It is because we have our own self-respect and we do want to do well and we do want to produce things that taste good, for example, when we're making brownies. But when we look at it from a bigger picture, if we were to remove actually, better words are going to be, what was your expectation from the box of brownies?
That they would be perfect.
You
That was
did
my
expect them to be perfect?
oh, hell yeah. 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 I expected me to create the perfect batch of brownies. I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I did. Yeah.
And okay, so you expected to create
It
perfect
didn't work
batch
out
of
that
brownies.
way. That's
Well, we're going to
yeah.
get to the bottom of that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
because we know based on this methodology and theory that that's not accurate. We know it's not accurate because you threw them in the garbage.
That's true. That's where they went. Yeah. That's true. That's where they went.
They went like dry bricks into the garbage.
I think my
Even though,
exact words were, honey, are you ever going to try one of these again? And I'm pretty sure he came up with some politically correct answer. And I went, okay. And off they went. So,
I'll always try something
I,
you make, honey. I'll always try
yeah,
it.
yeah. Willing guinea pig, poor guy. Anyways, yeah.
So the reason why we can know that there's conflicting things happening. You may have for that second, okay, this will be perfect. I'm getting them out of a box. And then were you rushed?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
for
So
sure.
we were
Rushed.
rushed.
Which is why I went to the box instead of making them from scratch, which I know I'm capable of doing.
Of course.
But no, let's make a box because your prep time is then in the oven done, right?
What else did you discover about that box?
It had been in the cupboard for a very long time, and apparently they do have expiration dates.
So
So
they expired.
apparently, with a best used before date of 2023,
Yeah.
that maybe you should go that as, they're guidelines. Dates are guidelines, whatever. Yeah.
Right. I mean, they're all dried products, right? I mean, but
Right.
the reality is it was an
Uh,
expired box. So you
yeah.
were rushed. It was an expired box. You were concerned about making sure they tasted good for the rest of the family.
Yep.
What else was going on in here? And maybe that's it, but let's see if there's anything else.
I I think I I don't know. I think it's maybe human nature or maybe just my nature to mom is such a phenomenal baker. Like she makes most everything from scratch. Like she just has the gift. Do you know what I
Love it.
mean? Like she just really has a gift. Anyways, she's making yakisoba for supper tonight. It is the most phenomenal noodle dish thing I have tasted in my entire freaking life. Anyways, I'm looking
Amazing.
forward to. I have this need still, even after knowing what I know in the last 8, 9 years I've known you, and very lucky, blessed for you, by the way. Whew, that I still have this need to impress someone, and I do it at work too, to impress, please, do my best, be perfectionist for someone that I admire, love, mentor, whatever scale you want to put. And for me, there's different scales, but for whatever that pedestal that I put certain people on, that makes my need to be perfect that much higher. And I know it's ridiculous. Even as I'm saying it, I know it's ridiculous. Even as the words are coming out of my mouth, I know it's ridiculous to put that kind of pressure, expectations. I know it's ridiculous, and yet I do it.
I would reframe it from it being ridiculous to accurate, right? Because as we've talked about, even just earlier in this, when we've lived a life experience where we're almost conditioned to do things for other people. We're conditioned to sacrifice yourself for others. That's just kind of how we're raised. However, we become the best at that when we are doing it for us, not for them. So when we say people you admire, which of course, I mean, you and I have been in this for a really long time, and the same would go for me. I admire you a great deal. And because I admire you a great deal, I bring a certain me to the table. More often than not, like the 99% of the time, I really am coming to learn, to grow, to develop, to support, to just be the best I can be in our exchanges. I'm still not doing it for you, though. You're just the byproduct of that state of being that gets to reap the benefits, so to speak. And the reason why I'm not doing it for you is because I'm the one looking in the mirror. I'm the one who's going to go to sleep tonight with my memories. I'm the one who's going to go for a walk in the park later with my thoughts. If my attitude was, I don't give a crap what they think, who cares? I mean, I'm going to throw this stuff in a pot and, bake them, and they're going to like them or they're not. It just, you as the person are never going to feel good from there, because you, the person, are kind and loving and caring and all of those things from that broader perspective bucket, that bigger bucket of well-being. And because that's who you are, when you slip out of that is when you notice. So because you're caring, loving, compassionate, kind, want to do well, because you're that person, the second you start to doubt it, meaning, what if they don't like it? That's you going against your own person, your own value, your own belief system. And we as people are never going to be able to do that and feel connected. It's not necessarily about needing somebody else's approval. It's more about believing in yourself to deliver. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I say I know we talk about a practiced behavior, but it really is a challenge sometimes to be almost kinder to yourself. Never mind, the rest of the millions of people on the planet. I've always said, and I've heard other people say about, no one can be harder on me than me.
Exactly.
Like, it doesn't matter what, nobody can ever be harder on me than me.
And nobody can be better for you than you either.
Yeah. And yet we do it to ourselves. Like,
We do.
it,
And it's never going to stop. We're always growing and expanding. I can know from knowing you for several years that based on where you were several years ago, we're not even talking about the same scale. Like, you were basically living in this cesspool of simply pleasing others without even remotely considering yourself in this process. And now, a few years later, I know that that's not the case, even though we do go there from time to time. And like you said earlier, we seem to go there more so with the people that we respect the most, that we care about the most. But let's talk about that behavior. We'll use mother-in-law, for example. What kind of behaviors, just in general, in this life experience, do mother-in-laws want to see from their daughter-in-laws, do you think? What are some of those types of behaviors?
It, I think, I mean, you see it in like movies and Dateline commercials all the time.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like they have, they seem to have high expectations for the daughter-in-laws when it comes to their sons. Not every mother-in-law can say, "I just want my son to be happy," right? Not everybody
So,
does that.
okay, so with that though, is that the way we're describing that in this exact moment? Which part of the bucket is it coming from? Here or here?
But I would suggest it's below the line for sure,
Right.
right? Yeah.
It's definitely below the line because
Yeah.
we're saying that we have a belief system that somebody else has an expectation that I'm going to be a 10 out of 10 in this deal. And we as people, we can never make something up for ourselves or others from here and feel good. Ever. We're not going
Yeah.
to be able to do that. So regardless of movies or otherwise, knowing what you know about feeling good in this life experience and the words we use, how could we say that now with mother-in-law, knowing how wonderful she is, how accepting she is, how kind she is, and all of those things, knowing that, how would we describe it? How would we describe showing up for her now?
Oh, I love them both. Like they're so kind and they're so accepting, and it's not their expectations. It was my expectations in my own head,
It was
right?
your expectations of
Of
their
their expectations.
reaction,
Yeah. It wasn't even their reality. It was just my, like
not
you
even
said
close to
before.
their
Yeah,
reality.
my
Yeah.
made up shit in my head, right? Yeah, like
And that's all logical when we believe that we have to be something specific to impress someone else. The goal, again, isn't about them. We love them so much. It's not. It's about you being able to be who you are naturally, loving, caring, accepting, creative, all of those things, about you just simply being there
yeah.
and then the byproduct happening as a result of that. So, really, the question is what prevents you from believing in yourself to be there?
It, I mean, it's not so much anymore. I mean, I try to more go with the flow now. Um, we'll sit on the couch and we'll just, mom and dad, then we'll just talk for hours or whatever, and then we, go upstairs and start supper, and I'm getting more involved in that and not, keeping myself away, not because I don't
Want to
enjoy,
help?
right,
Yeah.
oh yeah, or spending time or any of that, because I love them and I love, I, his family is just, I I don't even have the right words today, and ugh, I'm so emotional today,
It's okay.
which I guess is it's fine. I mean, really, it is. It was just, and I'm sure that happens in work too. That
Yeah,
I just make crap up in my head
right.
of other people's expectations instead of
The
being clear.
reasons why we do that is because for that particular moment in time, whether it was a length of time that's 1 minute, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, 2 days, 3 days, or 4 days, when we're under a lot of pressure, there could be change happening, there could be uncertainty, or, we're waiting for something. that can be tricky for us to maneuver if we don't recognize it. And that's the beauty of you, is you kind of caught on to this pretty quickly and ran with it, and made those conscious decisions over time. And I can tell you that as somebody who lives and breathes this day in and day out, I'm never going to be there 100% of the time either, nor do I want to be, right? Because that would, we're never growing anymore, right? And this experience is about, when we have an experience, we get to learn from that experience about whether or not it is something that we prefer or something that we don't. And we'll go back to the brownies again, because there was just so much valuable information in the brownies not turning out. Number one, we had an expired box of brownies. So maybe we'll check the pantry or check the box or do whatever, right? So we might take some steps. We might take some steps in the future to ensure, right? Like, if it's not last minute, we're planning dinner Sunday, I'm going to make this thing. We might be planning for that on Wednesday instead of Sunday morning kind of thing. And I'm not quite sure if that's really what happened, but you know what? So it gives us an opportunity to now learn from that experience so we can plan better for the future. So that's just the basic part of it, the simplest to start. But then also when we recognize that emotional state of, what if they don't like them? What if they notice it's out of a box and not made fresh and have an opinion about that? It's about you being able to catch it. And I think that's the thing that you've learned and grown and developed so much with, is being able to catch that, oh, that doesn't feel good feeling. And then we don't have to decipher, oh my God, what was I just thinking about? Where was I going? We don't need to do that in that red hot minute, because sometimes we might not be able to find it. There just could be a buildup of things. The goal is to be able to go, oh, that didn't feel good. I'm going to go over there. Okay, wait a minute. Let me do that work that I've been doing for 8-9 years. Let me do this work going, okay, where am I on the scale and where do I want to be? Okay, well, right now I feel anxious or nervous. Okay, so where do I really want to be? Can I be somewhere else on the scale? And we're not talking euphoria. We're not talking making a jump from a little bit of nervousness to woo. We're not talking about that, because again, that can be too big of a leap to be able to get there. But really though, the work in those moments is to be able to go, okay, they're wonderful people. I don't really have anything to prove to anyone. I really am doing my best. Everything will be okay. We're not going to starve. There's just so many things that we can say to ourselves when we catch those emotions. And that's the real trick, is being able to catch it when we're there, when we notice, as soon as we can. But even bigger is preparing in advance. When we get up in the morning, before our feet hit the floor, we are already preparing our day. It's going to be a good day. I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to be helpful. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I'm going to take part. I'm going to be supportive. That's how my day is going to be. And we're doing that as our eyes are opening and stuff, because when people say, I woke up in a bad mood, that's simply inaccurate. You didn't just wake up and start raging. We wake up and we're like, oh my God, I got to do this today and I got to do that. And the kids are a nightmare and I got to pay for this and rent's due, mortgages due, can't afford this, before we even get out of bed. And then we're wondering why our day turns to crap and we spill our coffee and burn our forehead or cut ourselves shaving. And then we're yelling at people in traffic. That's all happening within seconds of us opening up our eyes. So when we can condition ourselves, when we can practice, number one, writing down those things that feel good, but when we can practice just anticipating a better day, then we're changing. We're changing what's happening, whether we know it or not. Law of attraction is responding to what we're doing. It's not going, oh yeah, you know what? Kathy's been a real pain this week, so I'm just going to make it miserable for her. That's not what it's doing. It is simply going, Kathy's having a rough week. This is what she's talking about. This is what she's thinking about. This is what she's typing. This is what she's watching. So we're just going to keep giving her more of that. Just more. It's not doing it to punish you. It's not doing it to hurt you. It's just giving you what you're telling it to give you.
Yeah.
That's it. Like no badness or wrongness happening in that. And it's why when do you think you started to really notice a change in your true life experience?
I think probably 4 years ago, almost 5 years ago. I always knew that I was happy,
Yeah.
and it did still go in the rabbit hole. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I just learned how to not stay there for too long. Like I can make, negative comments just like anybody else when you're in traffic or whatever, something will come bleh,
Did it
out of your
yesterday.
yeah, right? Just comes I say, you take your 30 seconds or minute rant or whatever, out loud or in your head or however, and then just move on, right? It just and I'm
Create a new narrative.
yeah, create a for sure, create a new narrative, and learning more how to your words in my head all the time when I'm in my vehicle about just enjoy the journey. Doesn't matter where you're going, where you're trying to get to, doesn't matter any of that. Just enjoy the journey. And I mean, I forget that sometimes, but I try to remember it more times than not. Just
Yeah.
enjoy the journey of of getting there.
Yeah, and what are things that make it easier to do that for us? It's that preparation we talk about and we'll continue to talk about. The sticky notes at your computer that you write down things that you want to be able to just look at quickly. Having your 5 things that you can go to very quickly when we don't feel good to be able to recall a memory that helps us feel better. And sometimes we have to write that down. Sometimes we have to make sure that we've noted it somewhere, because again, when we're in the thick of it, even trying to find it, sometimes we're just going to be like, no, I want to be mad right now and I want to be able to feel this. And again, there's no wrongness in that. It just, when we're there, don't expect a different outcome.
Yeah.
That's where it gets weird and trippy, right? Because if we're really feeling like, oh my God, if I don't succeed in these brownies and it's just going to be the end of the world for me if these don't turn out and they don't love them, then we're not ready to make the brownies. It doesn't mean we're not supposed to never make them. It just means in that moment, we don't want to make them because the outcome's going to be in the batch. It's just going to match what that is. Regardless of the physical thing turning out, regardless of the brownies going in the garbage, you will not feel good while you're doing it.
No.
And that's why it's so important for us as humans to really figure out, where do we want to be? Does our behavior match? Actually, we can bring up those questions now, right? So what is the best possible outcome? Is it in the best interest of all that is? Meaning, is my decision going to hurt me or others, right? No. Great. Then is my decision going to be beneficial to me and others? Fantastic. And does my behavior match? So if the best possible outcome is having tasty brownies, there's a whole bunch of things we have to do prior to that. Number 1, if we're going to use a box of brownies, let's check the date. Easy peasy. Number 2,
Whatever. Yeah.
right? Number 2, just trusting in ourselves and our ability to follow instructions on a box. Generally, for most of those, we just got to add water and an egg. So pretty basic, pretty straightforward. Trust in yourself to do that. When we stop putting pressure on others to be accepting of us, when we stop putting pressure on them and remind ourselves that we're the ones, because we already know, yeah, I'm pretty good at this. I can read instructions. The ingredients are fresh. I've given myself time to do it, so I'm not rushing. I've planned in advance. They're loving people, so it won't matter. They're just going to support, support, support. So even if we had to throw the brownies away, the process and the time it took to get there was way more pleasing than it was before. That's what we're shooting for. We're not shooting for the tasty brownies. That's going to be the byproduct. We're shooting for that ride while we're making the brownies, the living in the moment kind of thing.
And something you said about, living in the moment, in that process, not being distracted in that process, so that things tend to maybe go a little bit, but distraction might be another topic for another day.
Right, but let's actually, so instead of saying not being distracted, how else can we say it? What would be the opposite of not being distracted?
Going with the flow, living in the moment, being in the moment,
Focused?
enjoying the complete journey. Yeah.
Being focused, right? Planning, making a conscious decision, being in acceptance. That is literally the opposite of distraction. And that's kind of what this is when we realize we're here, we're looking for anything that's opposite of this. And that's anything up here.
Yeah.
Anything. Maybe it's, a funny cat video. Maybe it's writing down your positive list of aspects. Maybe it's those recalling those memories that just warm your heart. Well, the episode where we talked about having such a good time at the grocery store when we hate grocery shopping, where we can just recall those things. But most importantly, and we want to make sure we capture this, when we are having a bad time and when we're not feeling good, we don't want to beat ourselves up for that. We want to acknowledge, appreciate, accept, and be okay with not feeling good. Because if we don't feel good and then we say to ourselves, oh, you know better and you're not supposed to be there, you're literally still contributing to being there. We don't get to beat ourselves up, right? Like we don't get to beat ourselves up and feel good. And that's not what that's meant to do. Those negative emotions are an indicator that you want something else. That's all it is. Indicator. Humans, we don't run around, even though we should, we don't run around going, life is great, things are flowing, I'm feeling good, optimistic, things are lining up, things are always working out for me. We generally don't do that. What we do is we'll complain, we'll get frustrated and annoyed, and then we notice.
Yeah.
That's when we notice the most. And that the reason why we notice is because we're no longer here.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we've done anything wrong. It just means we are currently experiencing something of which we do not want. That's not a bad thing. It would be really more weird if we were experiencing something we didn't want and went, woo, this is fabulous. That would be more weird, right? So this is fantastic. I'm stabbing myself in the toe with this nail and hammer, rusty nail. This is amazing.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So when we talk about being able to catch it, when we talk about not being somebody for somebody else, we're being someone, behaving like someone, taking part like someone because it feels best to us to do that. It just feels better for us to be helpful and kind and open and honest and caring and empathetic and supportive and going with the flow. It feels better to us to do that. And when we're there, we use words that will match that state of being. We use words that say, how can I help? What can I do to support you? Because again, it would be illogical if we're feeling good to go, get out of my face. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
It's logical when we don't feel good to go, am I going to, are they going to like me or not? Well, and the reality is the more time we spend here out in the real world, the less likely we're going to get people who are going to love us from there. Because it's not logical. We want that to happen anyway. We want to love you anyway. We talk about it all the time. You be you, I'm going to love you anyway. Because that is our focus, is when we're out looking at the world and we're taking part in this experience, that we recognize that most of the stuff that's happening is none of our business.
Yeah.
What's our business is how we're contributing. And when we're contributing from love and compassion and understanding, no matter what, then we feel better.
Is ensuring that when you're loving, that we're doing it unconditionally. Unconditional.
Has to be unconditional,
Yeah.
because when we do it from a place of, well, I'll love you, but I need you to change what you're doing over here, that's an unfair ask for many reasons. Number one, we're all individuals. We all have our own beliefs and our own values and our own desires and our own likes. And how boring would this environment be if we were all exactly the same? It would take us forever to grow and expand and learn anything, because we learn most from here. We don't have to, but that is what we do. Something goes wrong. We didn't get a heart surgeon just out of the blue. We got a heart surgeon because somebody had a heart attack. We didn't get a dentist just because. We got a dentist because somebody had a toothache so bad that they used a rock in their face. We didn't get seat belts because somebody just thought it was going to be a good idea. No, people were flying through the window. So the majority of our ideas, growth and expansion, actually come from here. And the best part is if we can plan and pre-plan for that as we move forward and maneuver through this life experience, when we recognize there's a problem, make a conscious decision to find the solution, we just get there sooner. They always happen. The solution always happens. It's just a matter of whether or not the ride to getting it was fun or not, or pleasing, or, inclusive and effective and felt good. That's the whole goal. So just like with brownies and everything else, it's not about pleasing in-laws. It's about getting to even the pleasing of the in-law and having fun doing it. They're going to be pleased regardless.
Yeah.
It would have been way less pleasing for them if they even knew that you were only doing it, or not necessarily only, but that was the reason why we even cared. It was because how it affected you. Yeah. That it can be tricky. Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear Dad already going, we don't care, right? Like,
we don't care.
Yeah, we don't care. Okay, right. Whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting that we as people, and I've done this too, you're not singular in it, we've all done it, where it's interesting because now so that's really what doesn't feel good about it.
Yeah.
Is yes, we're disparaging ourselves in it, but we're also putting pressure on another human being that they didn't ask for. We've created a narrative up here about someone else that they're like, dude, that's not the way I am. What are you talking about? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And again, we as people, we don't have the ability to even imply that someone else is going to have a negative response and then us feel good in that thought. It doesn't line up with well-being, because well-being, as you know, your well-being, specifically your well-being, as you were, rushed and doing all of these things and having doubts about whether or not they were going to like it, your well-being was going, Kathy, it's going to be fine. We're going to have fun. They're wonderful people and they're inclusive. And I'm sure that was happening. This isn't going to work out. They're wonderful people. It's going to be perfect. Oh my God, I'm going to fail. They're going to think this is the worst thing ever. Oh my gosh, no, it's okay. I'm sure that's how quickly that was happening for you.
Yep.
Right?
Yep, for sure. And it was all made up in my head. It was all of it made up. Yeah. All of
All
it
of it
made
made
up.
up.
Yeah.
It's funny because we actually do talk about that quite a bit and we'll continue to talk about it.
Yeah.
Everything that happens in here, everything we're making up. Everything. So even, and it's why we'll say that it's important to write down things that you remember that make you feel good, because we could have the identical situation, an identical experience at the same store, identical. I'm flying mostly up here, had the best experience ever. I'm flying mostly here, worst experience ever. Even though the dynamic didn't change, the only thing that changed is where we were on the scale. So, and that goes for memories too, which is why memory, and even from a coaching perspective, we don't spend a whole lot of time going backwards. We just don't, because if I'm feeling good, I can look in my memory at something that wasn't so pleasing and not go here, remain here, because I've practiced this enough to be able to look at a memory still from here. But when we don't feel good, we'll go to memories that are here. And sometimes those memories, when we're here, we change the narrative in here about the memory. Even though this certain thing happened, again, back to the store, or even the Brownies. Our memory of this could be the Brownies. The memory of it could be, oh my God, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
It was an absolute disaster. And when we're here and recall it, we're going to call it a disaster.
Yeah.
When we're here and look at this same memory, the identical memory, when we're here, we're going to be able to say, oh my gosh, what a learning opportunity that was.
Yeah. And laugh at it, because
And laugh at it.
yeah,
And
I
actually,
laugh at
like,
it all the time.
and have like a really fun experience over it.
Yeah.
But if we're in the rabbit hole and we remember it, oh my God, I can't believe I didn't check the box. Oh my God. You know
Exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the same memory, we can remember it differently based on where we are.
And then automatically go to beating ourselves up about it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then oftentimes we actually will then extend that to somebody else in the room, because now that we're here and we're in the boat, then we're going to remember what you did last
Yeah.
week. Remember that time a couple weeks ago when you said that nasty, you know,
Yeah.
it'll all come to the forefront. And again, no wrongness in that, just accurate. And before, because I know we're rapidly running out of time, but so you mentioned something really important earlier, and that's being able to do it unconditionally. We're not taking part in this experience and practicing this behavior to get something from someone else. It's not why we're doing it. We are practicing this and living this experience and learning about how to manage our own emotions and navigate this world for us. We're doing it for our well-being, our ability to get up in the morning and even be able to have that positive conversation in our head for a minute before we get out of bed, so that we can check in with ourselves a few times a day to see how we're doing, to be able to honor and appreciate this emotional journey that we're on, so that we can make conscious decisions and plan for what we want the future to look like. And there's no better predictor of the future than right now. Make sense?
Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. If any of our listeners have any comments or topics they would like us to discuss, please leave your comments below. Until next time.
Thank you, everyone.